Okay, the first surprise is I think most of you would have seen me with another company. The reason why is that I've changed in the last couple of weeks and everything was printed out. But that's now my new role. I will take you on a journey today a little bit, explaining what it is, what we do. I think there's a variety of different profiles of people here, banks and fintech companies, because that's the stream for. And I would like to share with you a little bit more of a detailed business outlook, what blockchain means in the investment management world and why it will dramatically change the practices. Before that, I think I will give you a little bit of, the agenda. I think I will go through a small introduction to understand a little bit what we are doing and how we are doing it, because I think that's will explain as well somehow why I have changed positions, because I'm a strong believer of blockchain and the power of fintech. And but I will also share with you my innovation management approach, because I think that's very important in the current environment, fintechs, incumbents, how the dynamic can work and what is missing. And I will also share a little bit of funny outlooks to the future and how we will look at it. So what is Universal Investment Group? Maybe not a lot of people knows. It's a German-based investment management platform. It's very independent. So we have around 1,300 portfolios, funds, 700 employees, existence for 50 years, and we have 447 billion. So when you never heard about Universal Investment, now you hear. What else is a good figure? I think 400 asset managers are connected to that platform. So we are a platform by origin. So this company has established something which is has been in the past in the investment management world not very well known, because a lot of asset managers were having their own platforms. Here what we have done, or the company has done since 50 years, is they have never done by themselves actively and as an independent platform, but connected all asset managers and all clients around it. Plus, we are working with 30 custodians globally. So by per se, that's already a very wide environment. Another information, maybe just, it's not marketing, but I think just to give you a little bit of an understanding how big it is, we have domiciliation in Germany, Krakow, Luxembourg, and we're extending Luxembourg. We are the biggest third-party Manco, which is quite interesting as well from a platform perspective. You will understand later on why I give you all this information. Why our clients are choosing, I have just mentioned it. It's quite simple. I think the last one is the most important piece, the independence. It means if you have, later on when we explain a little bit what blockchain can mean for the investment management world, every asset manager offering their own solution, but the problem is blockchain doesn't work for only one. It is something where you have to share it. And that's why a lot of consortium are not working, but I will explain as well a little bit. So that's really where I think the key competitive advantage is. And from the structure of the owners, and that's also another piece which is quite interesting, because a lot of big organizations have a problem about who the shareholders are and what the shareholders want. The company is at the moment, 2 years ago, has been bought by a private equity company, Montague, which are changing the gears right now towards the future. So that's also why I'm there right now. What are the different product ranges that we have? I think I'm not sure if you're all very familiar with the investment management world, but basically we offer a variety of different investment vehicles, and especially as well the Luxembourg mutual funds. Just a little bit of information growth. I think you see the asset management, investment management world is quite collapsing a little bit. We are growing because of the platform economies. So now I would like to step into the blockchain topics and discussion. Why blockchain has the potential to disrupt the investment management world? I think it's quite simple, because I think blockchain, in comparison to other technologies, has a fundamental change of the source issues of a financial transaction. Be it artificial intelligence, machine learning, we are trying to optimize always something which is already not efficient. That's what I call building faster horses. Robotics is very good examples. 20 years ago, companies were outsourcing to India. Then now we are nearshoring to Eastern Europe. Then we put now robotics, but that's not really solving the issue. And when we look at blockchain itself, it's really solving or looking at the source. a distributed ledger. So I will give you a little bit of examples, I think, to have some meat around the bone, how I structure it and what it means for the investment management value chain. That's a typical investment value chain. You start with the sales, relationship management, you have the products, portfolio management, and at the end of the day, you have the reporting towards the clients. And those are different functions that you have. Now I will show you where blockchain can be applied and what we are doing right now. I think, first of all, I have simplified. You see how many value chain models are there. I have simplified it because one thing that blockchain allows as well is to simplify our world. Disintermediation means simplification. So I have simplified it in distribution, investment, and operations. And here on the distribution side, I think that's where the most blockchain appliances are happening right now, especially KYC AML. It has been mentioned this morning, even in the other sessions. We are doing a lot, and I think what I would like to share with you is what is the potential and what is my vision around this for a pure distribution perspective. I think I have coined a couple of years ago the idea enabling clients that they can buy funds like books and Amazon. So that's simple to understand wherever you come from. If you ask me what is happening right now, today, if you buy an investment fund, you have to have a bank, you have to have a depot, plus it takes you 2 days before the settlement's happening. So you buy something, in 2 days you get something, you don't know how much or what the price is. That's a reality. Sounds funny, but that's what's happening right now, and that's for the overall asset management world. So the other thing is KYC AML. What does it mean? It's know your clients as anti-money laundering. That's because we are really regulated in that environment. We have to ensure that each of you has proven who he is or not. I think it's needless to mention, blockchain is definitely something where really we can enable clients to have a much more digital but secure, immutable environment. The other thing, which called redemption subscriptions, that's what I meant, is buying and selling of funds. So like I mentioned, is 2 days, and if you want to have in the future a real-time transaction, of course you cannot avoid to look at blockchain itself. Smart contracts, I mean, needless to mention that you have to be onboarded via paper. It's the contract itself you have to sign, and you have seldom, I think, in our practices we can scan them or fax them, because there's electronic identification is happening right now, but it's still not in place. Contracts and agreements, I will not bore you too much with that, but I think as everything what we have heard as well in the pension fund session, it's everything paper driven, and sometimes, just for you to give you an understanding, onboarding of an institutional client can take to up to 3 months. Imagine yourself, you will wait until you can invest for 3 months. A lot of people would not do that as a private person, but that's standards here. On the investment side, I think that's also something we have seen this morning. Quite clear digital assets, how to cover them, digital custody. I think I fully much agree that a lot of elements like custodians, banks will have to change. Transfer agency, which are really a central register, will disappear with blockchain because it's a distributed ledger. But as well, the other instruments which are coming right now on board, I think maybe you have seen, it's not only Facebook creating a stable coin, but a lot of other banks are creating stable coins. Why are they doing it? Because they want to smoothen their payment service, but all permissioned and private blockchains, nothing public. That's what Facebook is going to change right now, because they are going to unbank the environment. On the operations side, quite clear. I think there's one term that I really like you to look at, is RegTech, and what it means is we are a regulated environment. You cannot imagine how much we have to pay to report to regulators that we all fulfill our requirements. And imagine yourself an ecosystem where you can have a regulator and node an auditor. I think that will save a lot of money and friction as well. I will not bore you too much with maybe the crypto custody. I think I disagree with a previous person. Person was talking. I think custody itself, from a bank perspective, where has been created to store somewhere money. With blockchain and a digital custody, you don't need to store money. You store bits and bytes. So it means that's going to be disrupted as well. Invoicing and payments, I think that's even applies to any other environment. What is very important is this green arrow that I have drawn here. a lot of companies in the investment management world are tackling subject by subject and trying to make one solution by one solution. So even if you have blockchain solutions for all three parts, you have to connect them. So I think I will not mention how difficult it will be that different environment can talk. The benefit that we have right now at the Universal is we will establish one holistic transferable view on the overall ecosystem with connecting the dots. So it means I have right now the possibility really to connect the dots on a end-to-end environment starting by the client. So let me zoom in a little bit on one element is the KYC AML that I've mentioned, or what we call the distribution of in the feature leveraging on blockchain. Let me start with that. I think if you just look on the client onboarding, I've mentioned it already, easy and fully digital client onboarding, including KYC AML. That's the target with blockchain, and that's I think we have already worked on and quite advanced. The other one is the transaction I mentioned, is the enabling the clients to buy and sell funds like books on Amazon. That's a little bit more tricky because you have to connect with the different environment which exists. And I will explain as well later on what really the challenges are. So if you continue with that, the contracts, maybe you have seen when you buy a ticket right now online, there's a box that you can click. Basically, you are signing a contract. When you are buying, but in the regulated environment, that's not possible. So we need to leverage on blockchain to have it more secure. Last but not least, very important as well, because I liked, we can also mention Alibaba or Amazon, predictive analytics, combining all this information, connecting the dots, going back to the client and proposing clients products or solutions based on their profile. Why is it important? Because I think needless to mention, financial environment and products are very complicated, not easy to understand. Nobody likes to read documents, and even a lot of people are not happy to go to banks to let explain. So that's a little bit of if you zoom on this digital fund distribution, for me the end is a total new client experience. I mean, what I mean with that is, I have given you before some figures, client onboarding 1 minute, transaction real time, pricing real time. Just the figures that I have given you before, if you take that into that consideration, that will tremendously change the world of the investment management world.